Hello, students. Hope you're doing fine. Now, today I'm going to discuss report types and characteristics. This is the topic which I've already discussed during my online classes. I just want to recap things because the book, from which I taught you, right, cannot be uploaded because the file is very large, right? Okay, so I just thought that it's better if I recap things in a video. So you could have some information, or you could retain some information in this manner. All right. Written reports vary from short informal reports to long formal reports. The language can vary from conversational first person language to highly structured third person language. Now, see, there is a range here, right? And that means the reports can range from short informal reports to long formal reports. When you're writing a formal report, the language is to be, highly structured, and you got to use third person pronoun, right, or third person point of view rather, right? That means as a writer, you are not going to include yourself. You're not going to say, I am writing this, or I have found this, or have discovered this, and I believe this, right? So you're not going to use first person pronoun or first person point of view. You got to use third person language. All right. Informal reports are generally brief. Here you can use first person or third person, whatever suit. Okay, and whatever suits. And informal reports can be written in memorandum reports. They can also be written in letter reports. If they are being written to the audience within the organization, you got to use memo reports. And if you have they're to be written in they're written to the audience outside the organization, then you should use letter report or format. So that means the short informal reports or short reports can be written in two formats: memorandum and letter. It depends on the audience. All right, a formal report may consist of all or some of the following parts: title page, authorization message, transmittal message, table of content, list of illustration, abstract body, glossary, appendix, bibliography, or reference. The difference between bibliography or reference is that in bibliography, we include all sources, irrespective of whether we have, cited those sources, information from those sources or not. Whereas in the reference list, we include, sources or name of the sources, right, from which we have cited the information, right, okay, in the report, right? The body of the report will span several pages and include multiple levels of heading. That means headings are to be included in the formal report. Content could be drawn from primary or secondary sources. This means that you can include the first-hand information which you have collected from the through the research from the customers or the participant, right? Or you can also include the secondary sources, any published work from where you have got the information, right? Can be used. Right. Visual aids help readers interpret information presented as text. Formal reports are usually written in the third person. It is recommended that recent trends, however, suggest that informality is becoming more acceptable in formal reports, but you try to avoid to be informal. All right, informal written reports. There are three types being mentioned over here in this book or discussed in this book, right? The first one is progress reports. A progress report, also called a status report, is usually written to give the details about the progress of the project you are engaged in. For example, you may be telling that how much you have achieved, or what stages have been covered, and what how much work is left, right? So in such reports, you basically give the status of your project, and you mention the work which has been done and the work which is left, and you also write that how much time in how much time you'll be finishing the project, or whatever the work is left, right? Okay. Then comes periodic reports. Periodic report provides manager updated information at regular scheduled intervals. Of course, your if you're working as a manager, you might have assigned, some work to the people who are working under you, right? So you would like to know how much work, or how much, how many tasks have been achieved, okay, or how much work has been carried out. In that case, you may ask them to report you either daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly or annually, right? Periodic reports are usually, right, in printed forms, right, as pre-printed forms, right, as it's written over here, right? And I'll show you the example for periodic report, and for the progress report as well. Just have a look at them. This is the example for the progress report. We can see its for memorandum format is being used over here. And this is the example of pre-printed forms, right? Periodic report, right? Here we can see that they've mentioned the time and the results, right? This is daily security check of facilities. So someone's job is to do this. Now the person is going to write the time, right, for each facility, and the results, right? And this is how, and of course the format varies from, task to task, from organization to organization. All right, technical report conveys specialized information. There are no standard formats or organizational plans for technical reports. Our organizations will often specify particular formats and plans to be used for internal technical reports. So that means there is no format, right? Which no specific format. Rather organizations, they have their own formats. All right. So if you join an organization, you need to have a look at the format which is being used in that organization for technical reports, right? So standardized formats make it easy for readers to scan reports for information of particular interest to them. An example technical report in letter format is shown figure 13.3. The organizations, they do have their own standardized formats, right? But there is no format, not a single format, for all yeah, for everybody, right? For example, we do have a letter format, we do have a format for, even format for a formal report. But when it comes to technical reports, the formats are different, okay, because different organizations, and they use, different formats, and there is no standardized format for this, right? One more important thing which you really need to take care of if you're engaged in technical report writing, you got to keep your audience in mind. If your audience is comprised of technical members, right, or people who understand, technical aspects, then you don't need to define technical terms. But in case if your audience is not technical or is non-technical, right, in that case you need to define the technical terms. For example,